Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Got to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Ahaya. It's Yahweh in the Hebrew. His only begotten son name is Yahweh Shai, not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christus, not Yeshaya. It's Yahweh Shai. So we got to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh. Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well. And a sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the Agwaf who are listening and learning, the few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from the GMS Orlando camp, coming at you another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification. Another daily edification, Lord's willing, to be edifying. This is another lesson, the collapse of Babylon the Great. The collapse of the infrastructure of Babylon the Great, their monetary system, everything about this place. And I usually go in on this guy, Peter Schiff, usually go in and do videos. I ain't did nothing in a while, so Lord willing, this be edifying.
Peter Schiff. Peter's chief economist, global strategist, Euro-Pacific Capital, a division of Alliance Global Partners. Peter, thanks for joining us again today on the show.
Well, my pleasure to be here.
We'll try not to turn up the heat too much because I understand you're sitting right now in Puerto Rico with no air conditioning, so we'll try to make this quick. Bottom line, unemployment this past week went up to a level guesstimated to be 17%. It seems like a foregone conclusion it's going to be over 20. What do you think this means for the economy throughout the rest of 2020 as well as the stock market?
Well, both the stock market and the economy are in a lot of trouble. Probably the economy even more so than the stock market, because what the Federal Reserve is doing may artificially prop up the stock market, but they're not going to have as much success with the real economy. In fact, the reason that the economy is so sick is not because of the coronavirus. I mean, that's probably making it worse, no question about that. But even before the coronavirus came on the scene, the economy was ill. And that's because of what the Fed did in the decade leading up to this disaster. So what we're really going to be suffering from is the hangover from all of the stimulus of the past, all the 0% interest rates and quantitative easing. And what the Fed is doing now in the aftermath of this crisis is only going to compound the problems that it created before the crisis.
So, Jeff, I know you've got some strong feelings and thoughts on the Fed and everything else, so go ahead.
Well, Peter, the last time you were on the show, you and I chatted about something. I'm going to shift gears for a minute. We talked about all this endless money printing, and this has got to be your worst nightmare because now the Fed has an open checkbook to cure all the ills here and be the buyer and lender of last resort. But, you were really hyper-focused on inflation, and I don't see inflation ever occurring for money printing, especially with the deflation that we're experiencing. And one of your picks was gold miners on the show the last time, and gold miners have been obliterated. Even though gold is up 15 to 17%, most gold miners are up 200% plus in this correction that we have. So how can we have inflation going forward when there's no inflation? The Fed's been trying to create inflation for the last 10 years.
Well, first of all, most of the major gold stocks have hit new multi-year highs this week, so I'm really not sure what you're talking about. Yeah, there are some junior miners that have been weak, but overall, gold stocks are doing a lot better than the overall stock market year to date. Now, they should be doing even better.
Let me say this. You see how this guy talking about he haven't seen inflation? Man, that show you these guys don't know nothing, man. This guy is a damn economist, man. This guy got a company. He own gold, man. How you gonna try to tell this man what ain't been happening, but it's been happening? That's why he said he don't know what you're talking about, man. These guys, the pride of these people, man.
Given what's already happened to gold and what's likely to happen to gold, and I think that's going to happen. So I think people should be buying these gold stocks as quickly as they can. But as far as inflation is concerned, inflation by definition is money printing. That's what's being inflated, is the money supply. So we've never seen the central bank create this much inflation in its history. To think that it's not going to affect consumer prices, I think, is completely ridiculous. I mean, it already is. Prices are rising for the things that people are really buying, like food.
Yeah, but Peter, money printing only causes inflation if it increases demand. Now we've got excessive money
This
printing
guy
with
bugged
no
out,
demand
man.
in this new corona economy. I think some of your viewpoints, Peter, are divorced from economic reality on some of this stuff, because the way you frame them make them sound like that.
It's your opinions that are divorced from reality. Mine are grounded in reality. When you create money, you are creating inflation. Now, that inflation will manifest in various ways. I mean, when the stock market went up a lot, when the real estate market went up a lot, it was inflation that was driving those price increases, not the real increase in the value of the businesses, but the nominal price. And prices are going to rise. The Fed is putting money into the economy at a time where production is actually going down. What's happening as a result of the coronavirus is businesses are not operating. Goods are not being produced. Services are not being provided. Yet we are creating more demand by flooding the economy with freshly printed money. You're just focusing on certain prices. Yes,
Right.
airline tickets are down. Nobody is flying. Okay, gas prices are down. Nobody is driving. This is only temporary. But look at what's happening to other prices. They're already rising, and they're going to rise even faster in the days, weeks, and months ahead.
So Peter, in the spirit of the terrible incident from the 90s and Rodney King's famous words, can't we all just get along? We have 1 minute left in the segment, so let me ask you the question this way.
Everything's a joke with these
I understand
devils.
what you're saying, but I also see that production is going to get ramped up. In fact, if the president has his way, it's going to ramp up sooner than later. So in the last minute and a half we have, do you think it's possible that the inflation once again shows up in an asset bubble and it benefits the wealthy as opposed to the average person out there?
Well, inflation benefits debtors, when people who have borrowed money, particularly to buy productive assets, and it hurts wage earners, savers, people who have credit. So that's going to happen. But remember, all of the stimulus, all of the bailouts have to be funded. They have to be paid by something. And if the government is not going to pay for it with taxes, they're doing it through inflation. The government is funding the stimulus and the bailout by stealing the purchasing power of savers and spending it into the economy.
But again,
there is no free lunch.
But Peter, just real quick, in the 30 seconds left, why do you think it can't happen as asset inflation as we've seen really since 2008? Because that just seems more likely to me.
That bubble is popped. We're not going to fund trillions and trillions of dollars of government spending simply by propping up the stock market. The public is going to have to pay the price of these bailouts, and it's going to come from the reduced value of their wages, the reduced value of their savings. The cost of living is going way up. The government is not taking people's money, but the government is taking the purchasing power from people's money, and they're going to feel that every time they try to buy something.
So, Peter, we need to leave it there for now, unfortunately, to go to commercial break. So, bottom line, you still think there's going to be price inflation here in the United States, and who knows what the future holds. You could be right. Thanks for joining us again today, Peter. Thank you so much. You stay with us, too. We'll be right back here with Mork.
See, they show you these guys don't know nothing, man. This guy been dealing with this. This is what he deal with, man. This is his specialty, man. They telling him what ain't. Well, what it look like, man? Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, man. Oh, virgin daughter of Babylon. This place is finished, man.
The banks are in trouble because people are defaulting on their loans. If people aren't earning as much money as they were when they were working, especially small businesses, they're not paying their loans. So the banks are not getting interest payments. They're getting defaults. In fact, there was already trouble in the subprime markets before COVID-19. Both subprime credit card and auto loan defaults were rising. That will only increase with millions of people suddenly unemployed. The bankers are staring into an abyss. The problem is Main Street just doesn't know it is staring into the same abyss. Even when the economy is overheating, banks are insolvent by design. The more insolvent they are, the more they fleece the sheep.
Now you see, it said the bankers are staring into an abyss. That's in the scriptures, man. Ecclesiastes 12:3 reads, In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, man. Who's looking out the windows? Who's the keepers of the house? The bankers, man. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, man. And that's what we see going on, man.
It is all perfectly legal, of course. Now people are starting to realize that they have been funding
Yeah, it is perfectly legal because they did what? They Psalm 94 and 20. They framed mission by law, man. Isaiah 10 and 1. Go to him that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed.
compulsive gamblers with unsecured loans at perhaps 25% interest rate on their bank deposits, unsecured loans. When you realize that governments have made this all legal and that they have pushed through bail-in legislation to protect the taxpayer from bank insolvency, do you trust your government to do anything that is for your benefit? We are wearing masks, but the banks are robbing us. The financial sector is the key to the US economy. They shouldn't be, but they are because we have a bubble economy. We have an economy based on credit, based on debt. So, not people spending the money they earned, but spending the money they didn't earn, but they borrowed. This becomes clear when you look at the consumer debt numbers. Americans were already leveraged up to their eyeballs before Corona spurred a government lockdown of the economy. What is at the heart of the bubble, other than the Federal Reserve, which is pumping all the blood through the body of the economy, but it's pumping it through the heart of the banking sector? So, when you see this cardiac arrest in the banking sector, this is a sign that there's trouble brewing here when the banks are having so much trouble. The collapse of fake assets was underway well before the fake virus became the imposed subject of 90% of all communication, and half the planet was put under house arrest. It directs the anger away from the elitist banksters to some nanoparticle, and the panic-stricken public will welcome the monetary reset, which, of course, will screw them further. The banks are the problem. When you have a credit bubble, when the economy is built on a foundation of debt, and then something happens to shake that foundation, you have a big problem, Peter Schiff said recently. Gold and silver are money, everything else is credit and subject to manipulation. The Fed is doing everything it did during the last financial crisis except way bigger and way sooner. The Fed printed more money than the UK and Chinese GDPs put together in the last 50 days alone. There's a deflation of products. There's inflation in food. There's more money floating around. There's no economy. There's no trade. Money is not real. The market is not real. The debt tsunami is rolling in. The derivatives pit is bottomless. No amount of bailouts by the public can fill a bottomless black hole. Trump bought them time with his initial bail out of the Fed, but that was all he gave them, a little time. The central banks will continue to temporize with massive pumping, guaranteeing that there be a catastrophic result. The bankers should have learned from 2008, but they didn't and proceeded to treat the market like a casino. Well, now it's time for them to take their losses. Trump should say no more and let the Fed, a private banksters cartel, after all, go bust.
And you see those two guys that was on the right and the left of Peter Schiff, they in their comfort zone, man. Okay? They comfortable, man. So they don't see it coming. And they ain't gonna see it until it hits them in the face, man. You see guys like that, you know they well off, man. So they can talk trash. But that man know what he talking about, man. But see, they living comfortable because they haven't been affected. So they think it's all good, man. But it ain't all good.
It'll take down a lot of zombie corporations as well as the bankster gamblers, but that'll clear the air. The public bailed out the banks in 2008. They didn't learn the lesson. Let them go bust. And let them suffer this stinging lesson, not the public. Those derivatives from 2008 were never cleared but just swept under the rug in a shoddy cleanup attempt. But you probably realize that. And now there are more derivatives. This is a financial and banking crisis, only a way worse than the 2008-2009 crisis. A financial crisis worse than 2008, conveniently blamed on COVID. How convenient was that? It's like a plane just flew into the World Trade Towers. And whether by nature or not, we know those towers come down in a hurry. That's the global economy now, about to turn into dust and molten steel.
And what is this? It's a transition of power, man. Okay? It's finna go from the basis of men. It's finna go back to the the righteous, man. Okay, who's in rulership right now? The basis of men, man. Okay, now on the right hand side, you got the Hebrew Israelites. Is the basis of men at this point right now. We've been the basis of men for hundreds of years, man. Okay, and they've been on top. But guess what? What the scriptures say in Luke? He that is exalted shall be abased, and he that is abased shall be exalted, man. So what we're seeing right now is a transition of power, man. That's what's taking place.
Thermite or not. This is actually the opening salvo to World War III, whether the virus was natural, accidental, or intentional. The end result is a bitter fight for survival, pitting man against man and nation against nation.
Scriptures say
Get
that.
yourselves ready to survive what's coming.
Hmm.
Welcome back to the Atlantis Report. You are here because you want to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. A financial crisis
Mark
occurs when
8:32.
disorderly asset price moves to impact the real world. People with bills or mortgages or small businesses, for example. They will default unless the Fed
John
changes
8
the
and 32
rules.
is lucky.
In the case of a shutdown, the shops like exchanges are closed, and because of social distancing, the throughput of available trade is reduced. You cannot do a better job if you only wanted to screw the GDP. This is a financial crisis, and the Fed Bank is largely to blame, but they will also print to infinity if needed. So, no matter how bad it gets for the little people, the Fed will create many more trillions of dollars and push the markets higher and higher. The hoi polloi get welfare checks, and for many, it's more than they made working, so they buy new cars, houses, iToys, etc. Uncle Sugar, through the Fed Bank, pays for it all. The big corporations continue to buy back shares, and the top 10% get richer still. If they run out, the Fed prints more and more. The masses are content, and the cities don't burn. It has worked so far for 12 years. The question now is, how long could they keep kicking the can before the whole system, the whole financial system collapses? When the banks go under, and they close their doors when there are runs on the banks, and they don't have the cash because fractional reserve banking is a fraud, and your debit cards don't work, what are working people in this country going to do? We need to address that question first. The Fed needs to be phased out. We do not even have fractional reserve banking anymore. Now we have fictional reserve banking, after the Fed changed the reserve requirement to 0 on March 26, 2020. It will be quite interesting to see how economic activity picks back up after things reopen. I think there may be some surprises. 1. Not all businesses are going to reopen. 2. Not all employees will be called back. 3. People are not going to flock to bars and restaurants because they will be broke, and no one wants to be around crowds in an enclosed area. 4. There is no demand pipeline for durable goods. It could be 6 months to a year before new car sales come off the peg. And if there is no demand, why keep auto workers on the job? 5. How much disposable income has become scared money? The states may reopen, but it may take years for consumers to backfill the financial hole this has caused. Fools don't realize that every business acts like cells which require a constant supply of oxygen to survive. An economy is a life form that is being killed by hypoxia. They cannot just switch it back on. It's becoming more and more evident to me that there isn't a COVID cover-up, it's that COVID is the cover-up for the collapse of our financial system. COVID shut down to cover up the financial implosion, to cover up the detonation of derivatives weapons of financial mass destruction, to cover up the extension of the globalist coup. Wheels within wheels. The Fed or the Bank for International Settlements or whoever saw the waves coming said, let's make up this social distancing thing so we can shut down part of the economy and therefore mask the true symptoms of our collapse. Without some kind of disaster, the current amount of money printing would crash the markets, so we have been given fiction to hold our attention. Stop spending. Stop the bank runs. Impossible to buy precious metal. Then there's a nice fat bank holiday. And it was the virus that did it. Sure, COVID is lethal, but no more so than flu, and when did the flu ever shut down the entire economy? Their art of deception tricks would even impress David Copperfield. They know if people understood that 2 bad recessions in a row were directly the result of banks' greed, they would have a fight on their hands to retain control. When they finally have us all turning on each other and controlled by law and technology to the point where it doesn't matter what we think or know as a society about these elites, it will be far too late. This is why Glass-Steagall was enacted after the last depression. Banks.
And we know for a fact, man, that the elites fund both sides of war, man. Okay? They win either way, man.
Not allowed a seat at the Wall Street poker table. Commodities only bought if you were taking physical delivery. The people never learn. Wall Street learned a long time ago how to become rich by legal embezzlements from Main Street. But Congress, senators, and Bill Clinton were wise enough to give us the Financial Modernization Act, which wiped out all of Glass-Steagall's protections to prevent another depression or worse. If we had a sound, debt-free monetary system, none of this would be happening. You can't print gold and silver. They are anchors. Under such an honest system, if you wanted to spend tons and tons of money on wars, infrastructure, or even hammock programs for illegal aliens, the only way to raise such funds would be through direct taxation of the citizenry.
Let me read these precepts. This Proverbs 15 and 22. It reads, without counsel, proposals are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. Let me get the precept. Proverbs 20 and 18. Every purpose is established by counsel, and with good advice make war. And that's what the elites do. Now, who get in the spirit to do so? Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, man. Because all the only thing that's going on is a transition of power, man. That's what's happening. In the midst of these people, they don't understand what's going on, man. This is all about, it's only about a transition of power, man. Okay? The basis of men going back to their low, and the elected Israel going back to their rightful thrones, man, under Yahushua. Proverbs 20 and 24. Man goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? Okay? The Lord is doing this, man. Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord punneth the heart, man. Okay, there's another scripture that tell you that the Lord directed the steps, man. Let's get this one. Proverbs 16 and 9. It reads, a man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord Yahweh directeth his steps. A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, directeth his steps. So all we see, what we see is going on is a transition of power, man. This is Daniel. This is Daniel chapter 7 and 18, and it reads, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever, man. And that's what we see going on, man. We seeing a transition of power, man. This is Matthew 21 and 43. It reads, therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of power shall be taken from you and given to a nation, bringing forth the fruits thereof. What did the Lord say? Bring forth fruit, meet for repentance, man. Okay? So, again, Matthew 21 and 43. Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of power shall be taken from you. From who? The wicked, man. And given to a nation, bringing forth the fruits thereof, man. You devils don't bring forth no fruits, man. You bring forth none but wickedness, corruption. That's why I say in Isaiah 14. As a matter of fact, let's read that. Isaiah 14 and verse 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, your rulership, your power, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. That's total corruption, man. Like if you see a body that's full of maggots or roadkill, that's full of maggots, man. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee, man. This place is falling, man. Okay? Let's get this one. Isaiah 47:1. They're straight to the point. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. No, because this place is finna be overthrown with what? Judgment, man. World War III. This is Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 11. It reads, How, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down. All they that bear silver are cut off, man. So what's going on right now is your monetary system is collapsing, man. Your infrastructure is collapsing. Your economy, your economic system is crashing, man. This is James chapter 5 and verse 1. This place is done, man. Hey, and the Lord, he's long suffering. So he letting it fall slowly, man. James 5 and 1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your misery that shall come upon you. It's talking about you elites, man, and they know it, man. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. Right? You done heap treasures, as it read, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasures together for the last days, man. You done took and took and took, man. Let's read that. Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 5. It reads, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Who sold us? Who bought us? The devil, the wicked. Exodus 21 and 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his head, he shall surely be put to death. When you go to Joel, so bringing this out, because who did this? The wicked, man. So now what you did is coming upon your own head, man. Joel 3 and 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. Okay, who did this, man? The wicked. Verse 6, Joel 3 and 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whether you have sold them, which is here in Babylon the Great, Negro, Latino, Native American, West Indian Haitians, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And it's going to happen to who? All the nations that put their hands on us, man. The apple of the Lord's eye. Psalm 83. So what's going on now is happening to you. What? Double portion, man. James 5 again. James 5 and 1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your garments moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. It's saying, eat your flesh as it were fire. Who's going to do this? The Lord is sending these nations against you, man. Revelation 17 and 16. This is a direct precept to James 5, man. And the 10, Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, man. Why? Because of what you did, man. Because of what you did. This is Jeremiah 51. In verse 7. It reads, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. forsake her. You see? So, you cannot be healed, man. And the nation said, what? And let us go everyone to his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. So, the Lord is going to cause these nations to do what? Eat your flesh, make you desolate, eat your flesh, and burn you with fire, man. So that's why I'm talking about in James. Go back and read it again. James 5:3. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. So, all the wickedness that you have done, the Lord is going to let these nations destroy you, man, for putting your hand on the apple of the Lord's eye, man. That's the whole point. The reason Babylon the Great is collapsing, is crumbling, is covered with worms, because you put your hand on the apple of the Lord's eye, man. Proverbs 11:4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but the righteousness delivered from death. The righteous will be delivered from death, man. But you wicked, you got to pay, man. Ezekiel chapter 7:19 reads, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of wrath of the Lord Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquities, man. And that go for 2/3 of Israel too, man. Your silver and gold ain't gonna save you. The wicked silver and gold will not save them, man. Riches will not profit you in the day of wrath. Period. Why? Because you have lived wickedly, man. Let's get it. Ecclesiastes chapter 10:1 reads, a wise king, a wise judge, will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered, man. If things was in order, things would be right, man. Okay, but you did what? Isaiah 24, you changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant, man. Okay? You changed everything, man. That's why I tell you, what that Proverbs 29:2? Let's read that real quick. Proverbs 29:2 reads, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, man. Okay? It say, verse 4 say, the king by judgment established the land, but he that receiveth gifts overthrow it, man. So, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So you have been destroyed by your own counsel, man. Again, Ecclesiastes 10:1. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. Government means mind control, control minds, man. If we had righteous kings, righteous rulers, the land would be righteous, man. Everything will be done in order. Verse 2, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man that ruleth of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. So you got a bunch of wickedness going on everywhere, man. Around the world. All four corners of the earth, man. It's a bunch of wickedness, man. Why? Because we have wicked rulers, man. Verse 3, an unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And who is that? Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? The Most High is going to set his son Yahweh Shai up, man. And the earth shall be ruled in righteousness forever, man. In the hand of power is the prosperity of man, and upon the person of the scribe shall he lay his honor. Yahweh Shai first and foremost, King David and the elect, man. This is verse 7. Pride is hateful before power and man, and by both do one commit iniquity. Why? Because the pride of your heart have deceived you. Obadiah 1:3, man. Okay, your father gave you the blessing to live by the sword, and you just took over the earth, man. 1,000 military bases scattered over the four corners of the earth, man. Why? Because that was your blessing to live by the sword. Verse 8, Ecclesiastes 10 and 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. You took the earth by the sword, man. It say riches got by deceit, man. You frame mystery by law. Psalm 94 and 20. You take what you want to take. Why? Because the earth is yours for the taking, man. Again, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. The basis of men isn't rulership of the earth, man. Why is the earth and ashes proud? Why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such as one sitteth his own soul to sale, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. That's the wicked. That's you, you heathen. And that's 2/3 of Israel, man. Right here, again, it said, why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man, for such as one setteth his own soul to sale. Because while he liveth, he casts away his bowels. Hey, all you chasing the money, man. Okay, you chasing the bag. And who got you like that? The wicked, man. All you care about is chasing the bag. You don't care about nothing else. For when a man is dead, he shall inherit creeping things, beasts, and worms, man. Hey, that's why it's best to get wisdom, not understanding while you're here, man. Verse 12, Ecclesiastes 10 and 12. The beginning of pride is when one departed from power and his heart is turned away from his maker. And that's 2/3 of Israel. Okay? Because the heathen, you can't follow the ways of Yahweh Shem Shai, but you can keep the laws of the land. That you can do. Do you do it? No, man. You don't pass bestiality laws. You make people swearing on the Bible. You done gave LGBTQP rights, equality rights. You charge people interest through usury. Okay? Again, for pride is the beginning of sin, and he that hath it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. And that's what we see going on, man. Babylon the Great is being overthrown utterly, man. The Lord have plucked up the roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their place. And that's what's going on. A transition of power, man. The Lord overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them to the foundation of the earth. He took some of them away and destroyed them, and have made their memorial, or Salak memorial, to cease from the earth. Pride was not made for men, nor furious anger for them that are born of a woman. They that fear the Lord Yahweh are a sure seed, and that love him, an honorable plant. And they that love him, an honorable plant. They that regard not the law are a dishonorable seed, which is the wicked, the Idumeans. They that transgress the commandments are a deceivable seed. Who are the deceivable seed on the planet today, man? The wicked, the Idumeans, man. Job 9 and 24. The earth was given to the hand of the wicked. Among brethren, he that is chief is honorable. So are they that fear the Lord Yahweh in his eyes. So you see, the Lord is overthrowing the proud nations, man. Get 2 more precepts. This is Psalms 75 and 6. It reads, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But power is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. For in the hand of the Lord Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. And that's talking about the heathen nations, starting with Esau, Edom, and 2/3 of Israel. they're going to drink of that cup. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the power of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horn of the righteous shall be exalted, man. So what you're seeing is a transition of power, man. The wicked is going back to the bases of men, to the low, which he told the serpent in Genesis 3. And the elect of Israel is going back to the top, man. Okay, that's what's happening, man. The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, man. This is Job 24 and 24. Straight to the point. It reads, they are exalted for a little while. They are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low. Then he tells Satan that in Genesis 3. They are taken out of the way as all others, and are cut off as the top of the ears of corn, man. Hold on, man. I gotta read this. Genesis 3 and 14 reads, and the Lord Yahweh said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shall thou go, and dust shall thou eat all the days of thy life. Upon thy belly shall thou go, meaning you're going to be the basis of men, the lowest of the low, and dust shall thou eat all the days of thy life, meaning confusion, right? Confusion. Let's go back to this one more time. Job 24 and 24. They are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low. On your belly, basis of men. They are taken out of the way as all others, and cut off as the top of the ears of corn, man. Okay? Right here. Was that Job 20 and 13? Yeah. Maybe Job 21. Yeah. Job 21 and 13. They spend their days in wealth, and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray to him? You see, they're the wicked. They cannot know the God. They cannot know Yahweh B'Shem Shai. Why does it say, therefore they say unto God, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways? Why do they say that? Because of Psalms 14 and 1. And it's also in Psalm 53 and 1. Psalm 14 and 1 reads, the fool have said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good, man. You see? So that's why they say, that's why the Lord said they spend their days in wealth and in a moment go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto God, why should we serve thee? Because they don't believe in the Most High, man. They're the wicked. They was created, their lot, as it read, in addition to Esther, their lot is to be the wicked, man. Let's read it real quick. Addition of Esther 10 and 10. Therefore have he made two lots, one for the people of Yahweh, and the other for the Gentiles. You see? And these two lots came at the hour and time and day of judgment before power amongst all nations. Hold on. Let's get one more. Ecclesiastes 33. Let's start at verse 10. It's a separation, man. It's a separation. And all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. In much knowledge, the Lord Yahweh have divided them, and made their ways diverse. Some of them have he blessed and exalted, and some of them have he sanctified and set near himself. But some of them have he cursed and brought low, and turned out of their places. As the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at his pleasure, that's Romans 9 and 22. So man is in the hand of him that made him to render to him as liking him best. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another, man. You see? Let's get this one in Proverbs, man. This is Proverbs, was that 29 and 27, I think. It reads, an unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is abomination to the wicked, man. There is a separation, man. Okay? And what we're seeing going on is a transition of power, man. Why? Because you have lived wickedly. You have done wickedly, man. And your lot is to do what, man? Let's read it. Isaiah 29 and 16. Straight to the point. Isaiah 29 and 16. Surely your turn of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not, which I just read, Ecclesiastes 33. Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he have no understanding. You see that? So when you go to Romans chapter 9, verse 22, this scripture is beautiful, man. What if power willing to show his wrath, to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? Who are they talking about? Isaiah 26 and 10, man. It reads, let favor be shewed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You see, Yahweh, when thy hand is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see and be ashamed for their evil, for their envy at the people. Yeah, the fire of thine enemies shall devour them. You see, the Lord got you set up to take the fall. The other nations are going to take you down. Then they're going to be destroyed. That's the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. But they cannot learn righteousness, man. They was created to be the wicked. They are the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction, man. And that's why they going down, man.
You'd have to lay hold of their assets directly, not indirectly through insidious inflation. You would have the ultimate check and balance system against waste, fraud, and other criminal activity. With constant public audits, the people would know every time a greasy hand was reaching into their cookie jar. The corruption began when the average clueless idiot started being willing to accept paper promises, currency, in place of hard money, gold and silver coins. This is a planned, controlled transition to feudalism. All independence and economic power have been surrendered to the central planner. The only way to do this was through a devastating financial crisis. The Fed is a part of a worldwide banking cartel that is already running the world. The Fed is just a tool of enslavement. So what is going on is an expansion of this enslavement, both by moving debt onto the taxpayers and implementing harsher means of control over the population. This was the Atlantis Report. Please like, share.
Hey, you see, man, hey, these devils is done, man. And hey, like you said right here, we have an economy based on credit, based on debt, man. This money ain't real, man. It's nothing backing this money, man. These FRNs, and you got Jake Borg the hell out, man. Why? Isaiah 30 and 1, man. They trust in Egypt, man. They take a covering of the wicked, but not of Yahweh, man. And they're going to be destroyed for it. Hey, Lord, when it's edifying, gotta give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rikah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well. In a sincere salutation to all the ark pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the whole elect. And shalom to the Akwaf who are listening and learning. The few sisters who are listening and learning. Lord willing is edifying. Until next time, I say shalom. Wa abad babal.